welcome back to the Moviescast 007 Euro Truck Simulator 2 Road Warrior Keyboard Road Warrior series. I didn't get that right. All the same, at all, twice in a row, ever. That's ridiculous. So, at the end of the last video, we'd managed to get ourselves to Torino from Verona. Short hop, and we've done all right. We are currently on £18,000. We've got 3 trucks. And our little empire is slowly growing. So, let's get out of the depot. Let's get rested. Let's get maintained, and let's get that discoverable. So, we'll pull a Yui, and get out of this, below this popsicle stand. Today I'm going to talk about telly. I'm living in New Zealand, as you know. I'm probably going to not have to bother saying that at some point. Although I'll probably inadvertently keep saying it until I move back to the UK. So, as I said, I'm in New Zealand at the moment. It's a wonderful country. I really enjoy being here, but I miss a lot of things about the UK, as is only to be expected. This is the first time I've lived outside the UK. It's the first time I've been outside the UK for longer than 2 weeks. I think the longest I've ever been outside the UK is a fortnight for holiday, which was nice, many times. Oh, you're kidding me. £280 down, the Swanee guys. Okay, we've got an Aveco truck dealer now. I can't remember if that is a... Nope. No, we need to go to... Oh, I shouldn't touch the screen, it wobbles it. We need to go to the repair yard. Because we need... Oh, that's so annoying. That is so annoying, £280. Actually, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I sped across the junction. I shouldn't be worried. It's not real money. Ooh! Ow! What the heck is the matter with me? Okay. No real damage. That's nonsense. I probably scrubbed off most of the speed by the time I clattered into him, but still, crikey, that's £600 in fees. That's taken us below 18,000. This is bad driving. This is bad driving. This is a bad way to start this little video. So we have to take the next right. I've done. Overtake that truck because it's taken too damn long. Bus, not truck. Don't you dare turn. They didn't. But we're going to let the little green car go because it won't stop, because that's the way these things work. The AI works in this game. It's the big bugbear. I think SCS are aware of it. They've got a big update, 1.9, which was supposed to feature in 1.8. 1.9 is going to hopefully be an improvement to the AI. So we'll see. Anyway, let's repair. Let's fix the damage done by that journey and the little crash we've just had. You're kidding me. Everything's at 0%, but there's enough there to get £293. I've never seen that before. That's astonishing. Okay, fair enough. Okay. And let's get some rest. Ah, damn it. I might double up the rest so that we're in the daytime. Because it's not much fun for you guys watching me do this at night time. Okay. So let's rest. Yeah, as I thought. And rest. And it's 8 AM. Excellent. Wow. Yeah. Emery's just got £900. I keep forgetting we've got 2 drivers. So, we're now in a position where we can take a job. So let's get ourselves a job. Let's get ourselves on the freight market. Let's find a new city to drive to from Torino. Stuttgart. I'd love to have £16,000, but Stuttgart's just a little bit too far away. It's, yes. So, we'll go for Salzburg in Austria, because I don't think we've been to Salzburg. Or should we go to Zurich and make our way across Switzerland? No, let's go for the money. Let's go for the cash. So, let's go pick up our load. And we need to turn left. Oh, so right. We need to turn right. Oh my goodness me. And I can't see out. Yeah, we got a lorry coming. We could probably have made that if we had stopped mucking around. Alright, we're going. So, I think the trick to smooth steering is lots of steering at low speed and then big steering at high speed. Oh God, that's dreadful advice. Ignore me. I'm distracted. I am distracted. We're going to stick behind the EA lorries because he's going to keep us from getting a speeding ticket, which is fine. And we'll get into Torino, and we will get our load. Get into Torino. We'll get into the depot, and we'll get our load. My brain is clearly not with it. I think I'm going to give it a break after this one. Yeah. Oh, you're so slow. What the heck is going on? Yeah, no, that's too slow. That's too slow. Of course, that means now we're not. Oh, we can go down. We've missed our window. But that lorry's so slow that we can actually get in front of him. That's fine. So, I think our load is in here. So let's go and get our load. And this is our load. So let's take the job. Boom. And it's that one directly in front of us. That's cool. Oh, I'm not sure we've taken a load that looks like that before. What was it again? Iron pipes. Interesting. You can see the iron pipes in the rear view mirror as we back up. I'll do an external view once we've hooked on. There we go. So let's have a quick look at our iron pipes. Our iron pipes. Lovely. Alright, back to the road. And we're taking a left, which means we're crossing traffic. And of course, we can't see. So let's go. Boom. And we're lucky. We're lucky there's nothing coming. Right. Then I think we should see when that goes green. We are lit. There's absolutely no reason that little red car needs to sit there. This is another one of the. There we can go. This is another one of the inconsistencies with the game, is that the cars will only drive down the dead centre of the road. If you watch them changing lane or going on a slip road from a slip road onto the main road or vice versa, you'll notice that they literally change direction, like someone's lifted the front of the car and pointed it in another direction. which I find a little bizarre. It's confusing, but it's disconcerting to look at. So more than anything else, it's just difficult. It's it's not what you'd expect to look at. So we put our parking brake on. And wait for it to go green. Lovely. Brake off, green. And let's head to Torino. So I had to quickly pick up a beverage because I'm feeling a little hoarse. That sounds weird now that I have said that out loud. Our language is a bizarre thing. The two words that sound exactly the same, horse and horse. One, H-O-R-S-E, is an animal, domesticated animal used for transporting people and goods, or at least it was until the advent of the motor vehicle, and is now used for sport and recreation. And horse, H-O-A-R-S-E. My throat is a little hoarse at the moment. It's a bit rough, a bit raspy, not particularly good. That's one of the problems with the English language for foreigners who are trying to learn it. Is it's difficult to understand that there are two words that sound exactly the same but are spelt very differently and mean very, very different things. The three twos, two, two, and two. T-O, which means which is a destination. Two, T-O-O, which is in addition to, and T-W-O, which means one more than one. That's the infant school, kindergarten, if you will, definition of two. I like to amuse myself, and amusing myself with my own stupidity, I suppose, is one way to go. Yes. So television. That's what we were talking about. So one of the things that I miss apart from my family and friends is television. I like UK television. One of the things I like about it is that because of the BBC, which is a state-owned, it's not state-owned, it's a state-administered national broadcaster, which is paid for by a licence fee. You pay, I think it's something like £120 a year. For that, you get a high-quality television service. You might not watch everything on that television service, but you'll be damn glad that television service exists. It produces, let's put some petrol in. It produces television that wouldn't get produced in a commercial environment. Doctor Who almost certainly would not have been revived under a commercial environment. When it was killed off, essentially at the end of the 80s, Doctor Who wasn't being run very well. It was being run by someone that didn't give a rat's arse about it, that really didn't care about it. £876, 739.86 litres. Let's get back on the road. The guy who was entrusted with it wasn't that bothered by it. Didn't want to. Oh, blimey! Oh, sugar! I knew that would happen. I keep forgetting I'm not in the UK. No damage. Are you kidding me? How is that not? Oh, I've got to get completely out of the way before this numpty will move. There you go. He's still not going. Are you kidding me? Go! Get out of my way, you moron. I know this is my fault. I shouldn't have... driven into the road, but there we go. I'm really confused. Oh, you're joking. The guy behind him is indicating to come in, so he's going to pull right up to me. Do you know what? I'm going to have to go forward. I'm going to have to back out of this. Why are you just sat there? Okay, I'm gonna use you as a brake. I'm gonna pull out and hope there's nothing coming in the other direction. There we go. Okay, guys, that is how not to do it. I got away with that. I cannot believe I got away with that. I got away with no damage penalty, and nothing but a dent to my very deflated pride. And probably overinflated ego. I love these bridges. These tunnel bridges. Oh my god, what is the matter with me? Tunnels. I'm beginning to wonder whether I'm suffering from a little touch of Alzheimer's. Or maybe something else. I don't know. I'm finding myself saying left when I mean right, and as I hear my voice saying the wrong word, I know I'm saying the wrong word, but my voice still carries on saying it. I misapply labels all the time. I've just said bridge when I meant tunnel. I think I need to get myself an appointment to the doctors when I get back to the UK. What we were talking about, television, yes. So aside from the fact that it makes non-commercial programs that need to be made, and it does make entertaining drama. I mean, as I said, Doctor Who is fantastically entertaining. The world has fallen in love with Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock. It pushes the other channels in the UK to make interesting stuff too. I don't think that ITV... Is it ITV? I think it's ITV. Don't think ITV would have made Downton Abbey if... or The Paradise if the BBC wasn't doing the same sort of thing and it wasn't popular. BBC has to be said, traditionally known for its costume dramas, and that's fine. I'm sure it's quite happy to carry on doing that. It does educational programs after a certain time of night and certain days. It runs programs specifically for deaf people with signage, with people, and when I say signing, I mean people who actually know how to use British Sign Language, not like that moron that was claiming schizophrenia at Nelson Mandela's funeral. But it also, because it's advert free, it dissuades the other commercial broadcasters from putting too many adverts too frequently on television. When I came to New Zealand, we came via San Francisco. We spent a week in San Francisco, which was fantastic. But we watch television, and after a certain time of night in a town you don't know, when you've not... We had friends who were on... This is going to sound really bizarre. We flew out a couple of days after some friends whose wedding we'd been to, and they were doing the west coast of America, and we just happened to be in San Francisco when they were in San Francisco. So we hooked up with them and had dinner and went out for a few drinks and went to Alcatraz with friends, which was fantastic. There's nothing... I love visiting places with my wife. I really do. But to get to visit an unbelievable historic place like Alcatraz with a buddy, it raised the whole experience, because I don't know why it raised the experience. It was the extra. Maybe it was the extra people there. Maybe it was the additional friend. Maybe it's because I admire the guy a lot. I don't know. Anyway, but it raised the experience for me. It was very interesting. But obviously, when you're tired and you've been wandering around a city all day long doing the tourist thing, I think the day we went to we went to visit the financial district. Oh gosh, I've moved my. Excuse me a second. I've moved this so the AE lock will probably have lost focus on. Apologies. Let's get the AE lock right. There we go. So I think we'd been to the financial district and we'd wandered around. We'd done a lot of walking on one of the days, and we just wanted to sort of curl up and just get some rest. And my brain wouldn't shut off immediately, so I watched some television. I watched about a bunch of stuff. I watched some early Game of Thrones. It's really bizarre to see a program chock full of British actors. British actors. There's a chunk of Scots in there, and they would hate to be called English because they're not. They're British and Scottish. It's really bizarre to see a bunch of British actors in a TV show that you won't get to see for at least a year. Because for some reason the Americans like when they have a giant, huge, massive hit of a program like Game of Thrones, they like to encourage pirates and BitTorrent sites by delaying the broadcast of a program so that people have to wait while things like morons spoiling the episode for them troll them on the internet. And for some people, the only way to get around that is to go to a BitTorrent site and download it so they can watch it before some douchebag on the internet can trumpet his knowledge by loudly telling you. I don't know how you can loudly tell anyone on the internet through the medium of typing. YouTube videos, that's how you can do it. But brazenly trumpeting knowledge that people don't want to have before they've watched the program. I do wish that when a program is so clearly and so obviously successful, I do wish that American TV broadcasters would just broadcast it, if not the same day, at least the next day. It doesn't make any sense to delay the broadcast of an internationally successful television program. You simply invite people to circumvent the legal way of watching these things. You're almost encouraging people to pirate TV programs if you don't release them on the same day. Television's different from film. Television is sold to broadcasters, and they get a set fee from the broadcasters, which covers the cost of making the program. Right, I did think I had for one horrifying moment that we were coming in a bit too hot, but we're all right. This is another one of these keep the ticket jobs. I've got a bunch of sticky tickets on the bottom of our cab, which we'll need to clear out. At this point, I'm just going mental. It's like, what was it? It's 11:15 in the evening. I'm driving all over the road. I'm expecting my phone to go any minute for my wife wanting a lift home from her party. So I'm a little distracted. I probably shouldn't have recorded this one. Oh, no, I don't want to go off the road. That's when I should have activated cruise control. The trouble is I'm very wary of having my beverage to my left, because it's when my beverage was on the left that I clattered it all over the table, cancelling the recording, I think, of episode 15, which followed in a series of calamities on and off the road, virtual and real. So I don't understand. When you've got a massively successful program like Game of Thrones, just broadcast it everywhere at the same time. Just get an agreement, a broadcast window of like 3 days. What then happens is, what I think would happen then is it mitigates the pirates. It means only the seriously dedicated, selfish gits will try and download this. And a loan instalment, which brings us back down from 19,000 Oh, crikey, what the heck did we lose? We lost a load of money. I wonder what that was on. Yeah, we lost like £1,000. I wonder if one of the drivers couldn't find a job and had to come back empty-handed. You'll find it happens every now and again. I think we discussed this in the last video. Every now and again, a driver will come back empty-handed. It doesn't just mean that he hasn't earned you any money. It means he's cost you money because he's had to buy petrol and perform running repairs on the vehicle, for which you're not earning any cash. I think what the game does is it sets a value, and that value you are to assume includes the cost of the maintenance of the vehicle. And the only time you actually see your other drivers costing you for running repairs is when they haven't earned any money. So you get a lovely little notice saying, "Your lazy git of a driver couldn't find a job, so he came back to the depot empty-handed." Some ways I wish they wouldn't come back to the depot. I'd rather they just go to pick a town, any town. In the way that I do, I don't go back to the depot. We started the game. I left Liverpool to go to Manchester, and I didn't go back to Liverpool until we bought our first truck, and the game takes you back to your depot to pick up that truck. I think that it only takes you back to your own garage the first time you buy a truck, because you're not at a particular destination. You're assumed to be sort of travelling the world, travelling the globe. The next time you buy a truck and you actually drive it, I think it takes you to the dealership. In fact, I'm pretty certain it takes you to the dealership. So in my case, the nearest big Volvo dealership, the Volvo dealership that I choose to buy my trucks from, is in London. So if I bought another truck and I decided to drive it, then I would start driving it from London. So yeah, I've not been back. I've only been back to Liverpool once. I think, yeah, I've only been back to Liverpool once. In my private profile, I went back and forth. But that's because that's the way the map worked for me on that occasion. That's the wonderful thing about this game. It's a different experience every time. And you might start at one destination, and even if you start at the same destination, you might be told to go to Manchester, you might be told to go to Birmingham, you might be told to go to Grimsby or Carlisle. You'll get a random nearby destination within 500 kilometres on your first journey, and then it's up to you to decide from where you go from there. So yeah, I was talking about television, and I was saying that I think the BBC keeps the commercial channels in check. On a British programme that's an hour long, you will get 3 commercial interruptions once every 20 minutes, and those commercial interruptions will be 3 minutes long. In an American programme, so that's 9 minutes, and an American programme that's an hour long, it's 15 minutes of adverts, and it's every 10 minutes. And it's appalling. It's so horrifyingly intrusive. And over here in New Zealand, it's exactly the same. When you haven't got a no interruption channel keeping your interruptions in check, then they just go bananas, because they can get away with it. There's nothing holding them back from sticking an advert in every 5 minutes. In America, we watched a program. I didn't watch the episode of Game of Thrones because we would have been watching it out of sequence, and at that time I hadn't read the 3rd book, so I didn't want to see a small portion of something I hadn't read yet and that I hadn't seen the lead up to yet. But we did watch an episode of The Mentalist. You get the cold open where they show you the murder, and then in the UK it goes straight to the titles. Not in America. In America, you get the cold open and then I'm an idiot. You get the cold open and the titles, and then You usually get a bit of the programme and then you get some adverts. No, you get the cold open, you get the titles, and it goes straight from the titles to an advert, which is just bizarre. I thought I'd accidentally set on the remote and I changed the channel, but no, this is how it's done. I find it horrifyingly intrusive. I find it almost impossible to properly follow a programme. I think that I would rather fewer breaks but longer breaks than a whole bunch. Like, you could halve the number of breaks, double the number of adverts, and it would be less intrusive. It would be less intrusive. But oh God, it's annoying. It's so annoying. It really is horrifyingly annoying. So that's one of the things I love about British television is we don't get that. You get a small number of breaks. You get enough time to get a cup of tea on the go, and then get your ass, or go to the loo, and then get your ass back in the chair to carry on watching. And you get a full 20 minutes without someone trying to sell you something, unless of course they're trying to sell you something with product placement within the programme. But I've become quite adept at ignoring product placement. So I watch a Bond movie and I couldn't tell you, apart from the car he drives and the watch he wears, I couldn't tell you what the other product placements were until I watched the credits. Because I'm hyper aware. I've got a bit of a watch thing. I like watches, so I tend to notice watches. And they kept advertising the watch in the run-up to the last Bond movie on television. Daniel Craig kept appearing in adverts for Omega. Oh God, sorry, I didn't mean to say the product name out loud. He kept appearing in adverts for the watch. He also, mind you, he was also appearing in product placement adverts. Not product. Brain not working. He kept appearing in adverts between television programs, advertising a particular brand of Dutch beer, which I found a bit. I mean, stick it in the film. I understand that you're trying to pay for the film, but surely at this point you've earned enough money to pay for the film with the advertising revenue from the people that you're paying to place their products. Surely you're not so greedy that you need more money. And the thing is, these Bond movies make so much money. You wouldn't have thought that it would be a struggle to keep these things going. Apparently it is. Yeah, the most obvious piece of product placement is the car. And I was glad when they returned to the 1960s Bond car. It's so they've updated it obviously for the modern era, but I was glad that in Casino Royale they nodded to to Sean Connery's DB5. I can say that one out loud because it's not available unless you're a millionaire. You can't get hold of one. So we're 4.5 hours out from our journey. I think it was a 12-hour journey, so we're not far from 2/3 into the journey. And I can still talk about telly. I'm a big fan of a whole bunch of things, and I'm a fan of stuff that wouldn't necessarily normally cross over in a Venn diagram. In the Venn diagram of all the programs I like, I'm probably the only person that sits in the intersection of all of those programs. I love sci-fi, so I'm a big fan of things like Star Trek. I loved... when I was little, I loved Babylon 5. I absolutely adored Firefly, and I still haven't forgiven Fox for shit-canning it. And I'm not going to apologise for using the word shit, because what they did to Firefly and the people who love that programme is shit. That every time I watch an episode of that programme, I'm thinking, this programme should be in its 11th season. Half the cast should be millionaires. It should have gone through its complete run SAG and be coming out the other side, and all of the actors in it should be movie stars by now. It was such a thought-provoking, wonderful piece of drama, and written and directed by a guy who clearly loved it, and that showed in the way he directed and wrote. I thought it was a fascinating piece of TV. I think it's a disservice to label it simply as sci-fi, because it's so much more than that. I think it's still the best work that Nathan Fillion has ever done. I think it's my wife has got me addicted to Castle, but if it was a choice between watching Castle and Firefly, I'd watch Firefly every time and twice on Sundays. I love police procedurals, particularly the more thought-provoking ones. I was a big fan of a British police procedural called Waking the Dead, which was about a cold case. £42 to go through that barrier. Bit of a rip-off. I feel like I've got my arm behind my back and my face in the floor. Not the most expensive toll booth I've ever been through, though. Yeah, Waking the Dead was fantastic. It had a brilliant actor who's probably in his early 60s by now, called Trevor Eve. He's the father of Alice Eve, who, if you're a sci-fi nutbag, you will know appeared as the woman in her bra and panties in the last J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. I say bra and panties because a lot of people will only remember her because of that scene. I have big problems with that episode. It's like J.J. Abrams decided that he didn't like the way that The Wrath of Khan was made, so he was going to remake it. So utterly pointless. I really do wonder what the thought process behind filmmakers, producers, writers and directors who decide to remake a classic. Gus Van Sant is the classic bad decision. Hitchcock made Psycho, and so Gus Van Sant decides to shot for shot remake Psycho. It's the most pointless film ever made. It really is. I mean, I feel sorry for the actors in one measure. Vince Vaughn, Anne Heche, who else was in there? Someone else was in there. But on the other hand, I don't feel sorry for them. Why on earth would you agree to be in a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho? It's possibly the best horror film ever made. It's less horror, more psychological. There's absolutely no point. That film has no reason to exist. That remake has no reason to exist. £48 grand. Really, I'm getting bent over the table on this journey. That is not cool. What else do I watch on telly? I love Sherlock. I love Doctor Who. The wife and I love Downton Abbey and Castle. What else do we watch? I'm loving Homeland, although it did have a bit of a dip in the second series. I loved The Walking Dead. Again, they decided to just stop and talk to one another in the second series, and so that kind of had a big dip. But the thing that makes me most proud about The Walking Dead is that the producers of the TV program, could find so little quality acting talent in the United States that they've decided to hire a bunch of Brits. They're very. I think it was the second episode. The lead character is a Brit. Andrew Lincoln is a Brit. If you only think you know him from The Walking Dead, you probably know him from other things. I think most people know him from Love Actually. He plays the character that's best friends with a chap who's marrying a girl he's absolutely in love with. He's the one that turns up and puts on a CD of Christmas carolers singing, and then does a whole Bob Dylan style card thing to tell Keira Knightley's character how much he loves her. What else is he in? If you're British, you'll know him from This Life. He plays Egg. Gosh, I can't remember what else he's in. He is in a number of things. You'll know him from a number of things. The second episode, he holes up in a house with a fella and that fella's kid, and the actor that he is Brit called Lenny James, who's making a name for himself in America. Imre, what a star! £2,200. He's bringing it back. He's bringing it. His last delivery was 900. This time it's 2,000. That's what I like to see. And on season 3, they were joined by another British actor called David Morrissey. David Morrissey, I think, is a cracking actor. My wife hates him. She thinks he's miserable and unable to act, but I think he's brilliant. If you've ever watched Doctor Who, one of the Christmas specials, one of the David Tennant's Christmas specials, had a chap running around 19th century London thinking he was the Doctor. That fella is David Morrissey, and I was tremendously excited because I thought David Morrissey was going to be the replacement for David Tennant, because at that time I think David Tennant was already making, I'm going to do one more, he was already saying things like, I'm going to do one more season and then I have to go. He wasn't doing it in the petulant, frankly bizarre way that Christopher Eccleston did it. It was the, if I want to leave before people start hating me kind of thing, which I can kind of understand. You also, he's making a name for himself as an actor doing other things, which is fine. But so David Morrissey is a brilliant actor. He plays the governor, the fellow with the eye patch. But I have another reason for loving David Morrissey. David Morrissey is a fellow Liverpool fan, which it's one of those things you wouldn't think an actor would come out and say, look, I follow this team, because Brits being what they are, you tend to look at them and go, what? Oh God, don't like him anymore. You hear a lot of that. Oh God, he supports who? Oh, no, we won't bother watching anything he's in anymore. Another actor that supports Liverpool, whose programme I've already mentioned, is the chap in Homeland, who you'll also remember from Band of Brothers. And horrifyingly, I can't remember his bloody name. That's really embarrassing. But he's also a fellow Liverpool fan. You'd be surprised to learn, actually, that Mike Myers is a Liverpool fan, until you realised why Mike Myers is a Liverpool fan. Mike Myers' parents emigrated from Liverpool to Canada. And so he actually got his love of Liverpool and his sense of humour from his parents. His dad loved Monty Python, so got him up at the crack of dawn to let him watch Monty Python. And actually, Monty Python's possibly the only thing that my dad would let me stay up past 8 o'clock for when I was a young'un. By that time, of course, they were being repeated. We're talking late 70s here. They were being repeated by the BBC on BBC Two, which is the minor channel. Well, it was the minor channel. It's not so minor anymore now. BBC Three and BBC Four are the minor channels. I love comedy, but I'm not as big a fan of TV comedies because I tend to find that they aim for the lowest common denominator. There isn't a tremendous amount of sophistication in television comedy, which is why when something is tremendously sophisticated and amazingly funny, it really stands out, because it is essentially standing out from a large cowpat, which is situation comedy. And then there's an awful lot of situation comedy on telly at the moment, and we are seeing. In New Zealand, they're about a year behind on American and British telly. So stuff that I was watching, it's sad actually, stuff that I was watching when I was in the UK is now being broadcast over here in New Zealand, so I'm actually missing a year of stuff. I'm I'm missing a year of a whole bunch of things. Every now and again though, something pops up that I wouldn't be able to watch. There's a new trend of first run programs coming over from America and then going on a minority cable channel and then being bought by a smaller terrestrial UK channel. Oh, you're kidding me. I hadn't thought about that. An hour and a half. It's going to take 35... Oh, crikey, we're not going to sleep. Not for 35 minutes. Forget it. So, for instance, the wife is a massive fan of Castle, and I really, really enjoy it too. It's broadcast on a minority cable channel in the UK called Alibi. And then a year later, it's broadcast on Channel 5, which is the smallest of the terrestrial broadcasting outfits in the United Kingdom, by a wide margin. Like, the next one up is probably 4 times as big, the next channel up. Maybe more, I don't know. I don't have the exact numbers. When we came over to New Zealand, they're running it a year later than Alibi, but they're running it in sequence with the UK. So I'm actually getting to see that programme at the same time, which is fine. I'm totally happy with that. We were talking police procedurals, weren't we? I used to love NYPD Blue. It was one of my favourite programmes. It got a little bit tame, and it got to be more about Andy Sipowicz than it did about the squad. And towards the end of its run, characters started disappearing and new characters kept reappearing. I remember there's an actor that replaced Bobby, who was the second partner that Dennis Franz's character had. A young actor who appeared in a John Voight film called Champ when he was tiny. He was in it for 2 years, and we've discovered Salzburg. It was really interesting. I was actually enjoying it. And then the actor just lost interest in the series for some reason and I'm not sure what it was that he didn't like. But he lost interest. He completely lost interest in the series. Started misbehaving, turning up late, turning up hungover, arguing with the direction his character was taking for no apparent reason, making life difficult for the other cast and for the crew, and generally making himself deeply unpopular. And as a direct result of that, they treated his character the way that he treated the series, with very little respect. They had his character's body dumped in a tip, in a landfill. Kind of made me a bit sad. You know, for the character, not for the actor. I thought what the actor did sounded, if it's everything I've heard is true, sounded a bit disrespectful. Obviously, this being a lot of the information I have on that's hearsay. Okay, so I had a little problem with my iPhone camera yet again. So I think it stopped recording after I got into the green box. Yeah, I know, I'm tired. So let's see what our reward was. Excellent. Ooh, so close to level 10. So close to level 10. So we got an excellent. We drove 720 kilometers. It took us 10 hours and 37 minutes of game time. To get there, we used 355.1 litres of fuel. So our base reward was £11,285 and 720 XP. Our proficiency bonus was at £1,523 for getting to level 9. Our long distance delivery bonus for skill rank 1 was £540 and 180 XP. And we got a 45 XP bonus for parking the trailer, giving us £13,348 and 945 XP. Rock and roll. So, that was our delivery to Salzburg from Torino, from Italy to Austria, And this has been Movie Scouts 007. And I'm going to see you hopefully in the next video. If you've made it all the way to the end, remember, you're my personal hero and you're keeping me going. And until the next video, I'll see you on the road.